Hi everyone, welcome back to an expert guide to Path of Exile. So today we're going to pick up where we left off last time. So we're going to head to the Haunted Coast, or something of the sort, to try and find another way to the forest that will be Act 2's setting. So here we are at the ship graveyard. We're going to continue. Whoops. So now we're going to be looking for a special lantern that a pirate guy lost out here. You can kind of understand why you would lose something like that in a place like this. If you're playing natural, you might stumble upon him first, and he will ask you to find the item. But since we've played before, I can divulge the secret to you of its general location. Now remember, random settings in terms of how the different maps are generated each playthrough. So it's always a little bit different, but usually the cave that we're looking for is going to be towards the end and roughly in the center of this area. Let's take out these guys. So our cleave is still working well enough. We might need to upgrade our weapon fairly soon. Although we did get a decent drop not too long ago, the levels come pretty fast early in the game, so your equipment can also get outdated pretty quickly. But for the moment, it's still good enough. So you can see I'm using Leap Slam to travel around, and look at this, the ship graveyard cave. Extremely fortunate that we found this so quickly. Let's go inside and find that lantern. So we're being attacked by squids as usual. And as you can see, I'm still running with my frog pet friend. He's bioluminescent, helps a little bit in a dark area like this. So he finds the enemies, points them out. And let's take care of this malignant guy. Oh boy. Yep. All right. Jeweler's Orb. Rare weapon, okay, not bad. Hit my Quicksilver Flask. Alright, dead end, so gotta head backwards. And over time you'll get used to this where it becomes easier to feel your way out. But even with experience, you're always just gonna have to take some guesses as to which direction to try first. Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you don't. Alright, quite a few rare monsters up here, that's alright. They usually drop better stuff, but they take longer to kill. So up to this point we've been, I'd say, extremely to very efficient. That being the case, we can afford to stop a little bit on some tankier enemies to take them down, see if they drop anything, because we've saved so much time with how quickly we've been moving through Act 1 thus far. All right, head up over here. And you're going to see it's a bit of a spoiler for what's going to happen in the next 60 seconds, but the character who actually has this lantern that we need for the pirate, whose name is Fairgraves, is right up here. So this person, you can see she's dead, apparently. This was Fairgraves' ex-girlfriend. And it's a little unclear what happened, but they got shipwrecked or something in this area. She stole his lantern, ran away. He turned into a ghost. She died at some point. Kind of standard stuff, but it's all very sad, obviously. But there aren't many happy things on this continent. Nor in Ray class, to be honest. So let's see here. Okay. We happen to find Fairgraves. A lot of times he's at the beginning of the zone, so I'm surprised to find him here. Maybe they updated that in some recent patch or something. But anyway, it's useful. We found him. We talked to him. He asks us to find the lamp. We already did. We give it back. He betrays us, of course. Right? But he does apologize and asks us to understand he needs to kill us for some reason, whereas he had promised not to do that. Okay, so we'll take care of these skeleton guys that he sends at us. Fairly simple with cleave. Again, on our right click, we just take him down. And after that, Fairgraves himself joins the fight. And a few hits and he's down. So, okay. So we actually completed a quest there, although we did not yet pick it up in town. But that means that we can return and get, I believe, a skill point from Bestel, the other pirate. Now, Bestel, he's actually started life as a poet. So he'll have some nice poetry about Fairgraves that we can enjoy if you want. We're trying to be as efficient as possible, so we won't have time to actually stop to read that, which is all right. But if you want to, I do recommend it. So Bestel was best friends, you might say, with both Fairgrave and his sister, right? So they all got washed up on the shore. Most of the crew died. Bestel survived somehow. And he knows that Fairgraves is out here somewhere. I don't know how he knows that, actually, but he seems to be aware of that. But he hasn't talked to the guy in some time, right? So we're going to bring that news back to our pirate friend Bestel, tell him that, unfortunately, his pirate friend, Fairgraves, is no more, but he will reward us for that. Again, I'm not quite sure why. It's kind of odd. If you kill somebody's friend, you usually don't get rewarded, but in this case you do. All right, so we will grab this. That's a freezing shrine, so we can freeze some of these ostriches. Pick up our scroll of wisdom. Can never get too many of those. Now, I've been skipping these weathered carvings. If you want, you can stop and read those or listen to the recording. Somehow the former inhabitants of this land figured out a way to actually talk to the rocks and have that information imprinted somehow by some magic, apparently. So that when you click on it now, I don't know what this is, hundreds of years later, you can still hear the original recording and the voice of whomever made an imprint upon those stones. So that's neat, you know. That's a rare kind of magic. You can check that out if you have time. We're skipping it here because we really value efficiency. Okay, so grab the waypoint. We are now inside this cave. The boss of Act 1 is going to be at the end of this cave. Very hard fight. You definitely want to have some cold resistance before you go in. But before diving into the cave, we're going to head back to town and talk to some of our friends here. So Nessa's happy. She offers us a new skill gem. There's nothing here I want to use. I guess I'll just pick up Earth Shatter. It's an active skill. Talk to Bestel. He gives you a book of skill, which has a passive point. Right click that. Here we go. Check the notice board. Is anyone playing? Nope, still no one. It's pretty odd. See, Tarkley's, you got anything? Let's see. Okay, so let's identify some of the items that we picked up. Okay, so cleave requires axes or swords. So if this sword is better, 6 to 25 versus, yeah, so that's not worth it. But there may be a better shield here. Alright, so this gives us some resistance. I'll replace that shield. And I'm not too interested in the others. Let's see, what's that? Not much. Okay, so I'm just going to sell these extra items to Tarkley here. And that's a large life flask. I don't need it. Alright, so let's spend some skill points. As you recall, we're heading over this way. So our next few nodes we're going to just have to use for travel purposes. So this is chance to block. I'm not going to worry about that yet. So instead we're going to keep heading over this way to go out for some melee damage and some health or life in this area. So for now, we're traveling. We're just taking dexterity, intelligence, and strength points. Those aren't useless, of course, but the main reason is for us to get over to this area to grab some of these more exciting nodes, which we shall do shortly. All right, so let's check the quest. So there's something about an archivist. I'm not sure what that is. we're skipping this side quest, and we have to slay the siren Mervale. So she's hiding in that cave that I showed you earlier. So let's head back there and see if we can do anything about it. All right, so we can check our resistances. If you go to the defense tab, you can see fire is at 17, cold is at 14, lightning's at 33. Those are all pretty low, but good enough for most of the enemies we encounter here early in Act 1 and Act 2. It is going to be the case that Merville has a lot of cold damage, and it's very scary. So for her boss fight, that's an exception, where having more resistance, specifically cold resistance, can be pretty helpful. But we're just going to try and power through and see if that works. So as you can see, she's a siren, a very dangerous creature, but one that can trick us into seeing things that may not actually be there. So she's got a bunch of squid. These are either family members or just friends that were made. And Mervale has an interesting story. So she was a monster who was actually born in Oriath, which is the place from which both the playable character, or characters if you're playing something other than the duelist, came from originally. All right, so they were exiled from there, and as we know, again, they were attacked by that marine mammal in the ocean. In Mervile's case, I believe this was hundreds of years ago, she was already a monster and was not accepted as part of Oriathan society. So it's sad, but she was bullied, picked on, singled out in various ways, and she'd had enough of it. So she decided to leave the island of Oriath and the civilization there, and try and make a home out here in the mainland, which is known as Rayclass, so the main continent. As you can see, it makes some sense, right? There's a lot of monsters that live here already. If you yourself are a monster, perhaps if you're struggling to make friends in your hometown, it does make a bit of sense to try your luck here with the other monsters. And it seemingly worked out to some degree. So she has made a number of friends, or at least acquaintances, some of whom we're killing right now. But it won't work out for much longer unless she kills us, in which case it will have worked out. And she will be the smart one in that case. But we're going to see how it goes. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. Okay, so we can open up this treasure chest and look. Oh gosh. Attacked by Amarissa, the daughter of Mervale. So we will just kill Mervale's daughter. And, again, you can feel bad about it. It had to be done, right? So I'm not saying you shouldn't have regrets. That's up to you, but there was no choice. You saw me just defending myself there. She attacked first, after all. Okay. All right, so we got past the first level of the cave system. We're now in the second. So we get through this. I believe there's another daughter located here. You don't have to fight them, but if you come across them, it's too tempting not to open up the illusory chest that they drop, and then of course you always get tricked into then fighting this giant sea monster, or medium-sized sea monster, we should say. All right. Okay, here's a large squid, just a rare monster. Didn't drop nothing, but that's okay. All right, we're still gaining levels here. Will turn out to be very useful. I can level up some skill gems. I'm still on a 3-link with my cleave, so connected to chance to bleed and I think maim, which may not be optimal for this stage, but is good enough. And once we get to the Act 2 town, then we can take a break and see what we might want to change about our setup, both in terms of our skill gems and the various gear that we're wearing and or saving. Alright, so we'll just leap slam over here. Alright, so what's recommended, we go into Mervale's lair. This is the boss's area. So first I'm going to drop a portal scroll so that If we need to escape quickly, we can, and or if we die, we can come back directly here and instead of starting the zone from the very beginning, which is annoying. Now I'm fairly confident. I'm going to switch to Blood Stance, and let's go over here, and you can see she's just a person, right? An angry person. But this is not her true form, so get ready for that. Forgot to warn about the spoilers, but yep. Okay, see, she's doing good damage. I don't have much cold resistance, so she hits me with that ice spear or whatever it is, and it does hurt, but you can jump around to avoid it for the most part. Okay, and I don't have any charges for my life flasks, but let's try and... Oh boy, there's some. Yep, and she turns into a horrible squid. Which, again, this was the form she had in Oriath. I don't agree with it, but a lot of the populace, of course, didn't treat her as a normal person, right? So, okay, yeah, we're getting hit by a lot of those ice whirlwind things. So we're going to head back to town. That recharges our flasks and our life. We go back in. We have a grace period. We won't be attacked. Drop another portal scroll, and we're back in the fight, which is pretty nice. Oh. Okay, so keep cleaving. Probably the strongest skill in the game, although that's somewhat debatable. But that's what we're using now. It's great for leveling. Okay, this is getting ganged up on by these squids here, but let me just take... Okay, and she's dead. Right, just like one daughter. There is a surviving daughter somewhere back there. We can leave her to pick up the pieces. Again, it sounds harsh, but they honestly aren't great people. It's not a great family. So don't feel too bad, just slightly. All right, so we've made it now through. Piety locked us out of the main entrance to this forest zone. We've made it through by going the long way around through some caves and some haunted areas. We got a new waypoint, and let's just travel here, and hopefully there aren't any creatures attacking us. Okay, sadly we got some blood apes. I was going to suggest trying to stealth through this area, which sometimes you can, but in this case, they saw us too soon, raised the alarm, and we're going to have to fight our way through, but we can probably make it. Right. All right, some kind of bug there. Let's just skip this, and oh, geez. Okay, here's some kind of guy. And I guess I should just tell you now, the forest is infested with bandits, which is troubling. But you can get through it with proper preparation. So we'll take this guy's spirit shield, and we took them out. You can see they kind of got a little camp up here, and a boat even. So here we made it to the forest encampment. Now this is the main town for Act 2. Groost, he's a decent guy once you get to know him, but he's a little suspicious of you at first. Iramir, old guy, he also came from Oriath. He was an exile, I believe. Silk and Nina, who are both nuts, but friendly people. And we'll see if we got any... Nope, we have no parties playing. So again, no one else playing the game. Don't read too much into that. All right, we got one skill point. Continue traveling. All right, now we're very close to being able to take some useful life nodes here. Possibly some things here. We have regeneration, elemental resistance, increased armor. But up here, we have physical damage with one-handed melee weapons. That's what we're using, so that'll be helpful. Melee strike range could be useful. So we're going to take some of those as well, and this is also physical damage. So those will be some big helps at this early stage of the game. All right, so I'm going to stop here. I'm going to talk to my buddy Groost. We'll pick up next time, getting started with Act 2, and hopefully you learned something from this. I'll be back next time with more expert advice on how to play Path of Exile. Thanks very much.